Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice, and I'm here in Providence, Rhode Island with Mr. Sam Alba. Sam, how's it going?
How's it going, boss? How you been, Greg?
Awesome. Sam is the new broker owner of Remax Innovations, and we're here to talk with him today. But before we get going, we have some very important business to take care of.
This is how me and Greg get started.
This is how we start the interview. Sam's a big bourbon guy.
Greg brought me this nice bottle. Appreciate it. Nice token, nice gesture. Appreciate it, Greg.
Absolutely.
I am a little bourbon guy. I do appreciate one drink or two.
Or three.
A little Greg to
Cheers,
you as
brother.
well.
Good luck.
Thank you to you as well.
Best job ever.
Thank you. Good work.
So Sam,
Now, is this a bad look that we have a
I
bottle
think
of
it's
bourbon in front of us
I think it's
the
an
whole
honest
time?
look.
Yeah,
It's honest.
Listen, for my line of work, for the long hours that we put in, you need a little gas in the tank.
That's true. It's Tuesday afternoon. It's 3 p.m. I mean,
Let's say it's 6 p.m. It's a little
3
bit more
p.m. on
acceptable.
the West Coast.
Yeah, right? It's 6 p.m. here. This is acceptable today. Yeah.
So Sam, you open your own brokerage, okay? To the folks that may be wanting to start their own brokerage, what did you learn about this process? How nerve-wracking was it? What did you learn about procedure and red tape and all these things? Tell us about, you don't have to get crazy in detail, but tell us about that transition.
Well, I'm still going through the transition, right? So I'm going to tell you what I'm going through right now. Because we literally just opened 5 weeks ago. We opened the doors 5 weeks ago, and we're still going through a lot of the implementation of structure and just final paperwork that needs to get done. What did I learn and what can I tell people? It's a lot. Just be ready. Make sure you have an open schedule, because even the simplest task today, especially with what's going on in our world with COVID-19, everything's a job. Something as simple as transferring a license from A to B, you think it was just as simple as, filling out an application. It's a week process. It's a month process.
True.
So make sure you have an open schedule, because it does, to do it right, it does take some time, like everything else. Yeah.
And what did you think coming on was going to be your biggest hurdle?
I didn't game plan that good, I guess, in terms of what was going to be my biggest hurdle. No, I honestly, the back end. I was kind of already set up in terms of like the business. Little background is that I already had a sales team. I had a real estate group functioning. We were 17 members. So normally, the hurdle, the tough part, is having a team that is selling real estate into the market when you're going to open up a brokerage. So I had already established that. We've been in the business for about 10 years now. So it was more about just bringing them over and setting up the back end work, making sure the accounting was set up. So it was more back end work than what you would think is a hard part, and it's actually having successful elite agents within your brokerage servicing your clients. So I guess I had already done most of the work before I decided to open up a brokerage. I had already had a strong, successful team in our market. It was just more about adding that back end work when we decided to open. So I did some stepping stones there, right?
Yeah, for sure. And tell us about the office setup. I'll show you guys at home a little bit of the space, how you organized it. I love the team room over there with the TVs. Tell us about that.
That's most of the new offices I was walking into were here locally and out of state that I experienced. They're not as traditional as they once were. Most agents today are on the go. They're stopping into the office to grind out some work. Maybe they got to check some quick emails and they're going. They don't want or need their own private space or cubicle. Right? You don't need that anymore. True. Right now they want to go in. They'll go into, I call it the pit.
Yeah.
Most people, my wife tells me, don't call it the pit. It sounds ugly. I'm like, but it is.
It's truthful.
The agents run in there. They grind out some work. They'll throw ideas around amongst each other. They'll ask each other questions in terms of what they're doing and if they need any assistance. But they'll go back there and they have everything they need. They even have resources amongst each other.
Yeah.
And they get it done. And then they hit the road again and they're servicing their clients. Because that's where we do most of our work, is on the road. We are servicing our clients face to face at properties, at their homes that are for sales as well.
What's the most underrated part of that? And I'll tell you, off the bat, my favorite thing is camaraderie.
Yeah.
So you got your people in there, which to the consumer, you really can't tell them like, oh, our people hang out together.
Yeah.
But internally, teamwork and hey, how are you, buddy?
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
How's it going? You know, what was going on with that deposit? All that shuffle is so much better than, you know, oh, is he in his cubicle? Or
No, you're right.
that separation.
You're right. And you know what? We probably could appreciate it more today than before, just because of, you know, the social distances that's going on.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. The relationship that these agents create amongst themselves because of that environment is great. It's a strong bond. And you see it. You see it in the day-to-day, you know, because I watch it. You know, we have group conversations going on through text, and you see the way somebody needs assistance. You know, whether somebody needs coverage for something, how quickly another team member or another agent is there and has their back. But it's probably the camaraderie, like you said. You know, they're there. They build a bond. They build a relationship. Where if everybody was set up in their own cubes and they stayed and looked down at their desk for those 8 hours, you're not building that, right?
Right.
So you're 100% right there. I agree with that. You know, that is a strong feature of having that set up. Yeah.
If we could just put a mic under the table in there
Yeah.
and let the folks at home listen
I
to
don't
it.
know. We might have to beep out half of it now.
What's your biggest, not trouble, but your biggest hurdle with managing your staff and your team members? What's the hardest thing that you're always like, I'm trying to get better, but I'm just not, or it's too hard to get better at? Like, for me, it's keeping people motivated all the time, the way I am and the way you are.
Yeah.
What's your biggest kind of task?
I agree with that. You know, making sure that they stay motivated. In our industry, we're set up to not have a lot of accountability, right? So if we are having a bad time, a bad day, there's nobody looking over us, making sure that we're doing our day to day, right? So you could easily lose motivation that way. Whether you're just having a hard time, you know what's going on in your personal life or in your business. If you're just having a hard time, there's nobody making sure that you're getting up and you're getting it done and you're getting back to where you need to be. So keeping people motivated in our industry is known to be an issue, absolutely. Let me see what else I could add to that is, you know, when you're managing a team as large as a team in a brokerage with this many agents, there's going to be different needs too. Some guys are motivated, some guys might not be. Some guys need more structure, so just implementing, just getting them down to execute certain type of paperwork that might not be their strong suit. It's kind of the case for a lot of agents as well. So adding structure, making sure they're implementing the tools that we're bringing on. We're always adding new tools as technology is changing and it's helping us in our career. Getting agents to implement new tools that will help them in their career is probably a tough part. You know, it is tough to get them to sit down and add this new system to your program as you're flying up and down the road, right?
Right.
And you know what? I acknowledge that, and I brought somebody in-house, and one of his main job description was helping the agents implement all these tools that we just acquired in this new brokerage, and there's more implementation of the new programs that we have. So I would say that as well, you know, making sure that they're implemented and they're staying up to today's pace. You know, we don't want to become dinosaurs as you easily could become in this industry, right? Because there's nobody making sure that you do. You know, that you do stay up to today's people. You know?
That's true.
So that's one point. Call me off guard with that one, but hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, that's the whole goal, is to get an honest reaction and answer.
Cool.
How about your lapel here? What is NAREP?
NAREP. So NAREP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Okay.
So NAREP is a national organization, nonprofit, and it's been around since the 90s, so it's not a new organization. It's actually the largest Hispanic organization that exists. It's not just in the real estate industry, but pretty much in all industries. The largest Hispanic organization that exists nationally. A friend of mine about 3 years ago brought it to my attention. I didn't know what it was. Even though it's
I
been
never
around,
heard of it.
it's been around since the 90s and it's been growing at an incredible pace. But I didn't know what NAROP was. My friend was he moved down here from Jersey. He was part of a chapter out there. And he said, Sam, you guys don't have a NAROP chapter here in Rhode Island. I was like, I don't know what NAROP is. And he introduced me to it. We actually took the time and we went down to a national. It was right around where NAROP hosted a national convention out in San Diego. It was one of their yearly events. I went out there to learn about it. I was blown away by the magnitude of what this organization was accomplishing and the magnitude in terms of what they had set up there in terms of just seminars and knowledge and everything they were feeding to all its members. Well, I was excited about it. I was intrigued, and we together, I was the first founding president in the Providence chapter, but a lot of credit goes to him. His name is Ramon Feliz. A lot of credit goes to him because he brought to my attention. He was a big part of getting that started here in Rhode Island. So we've been open for 2 years. I'm actually scheduled to step down from my presidency seat, and we have Roger Duque who will be stepping up as our new up-and-coming president. And what it is, now what it is, right? So what they're all about is educating their community and helping their community with home sustainability. Not just home buying, because we could easily help you buy a house, right? And then you foreclosing it in 3 years, right? So what good do we do to our community by helping them buy a home that they were just gonna foreclose, shortly down the line? Did we do them any justice? Did we help elevate them in any way? Absolutely not. So it's more about the home sustainability, right? And their structure, the way it's set up, is more, you educate the professionals that are servicing that community. That way, they're able to educate, pass it down. And really, that's what they're promoting. They're really promoting how to help the professional, just teaching financial knowledge, right? Financial literacy. And it's something that we lack. When I see it with my own clients, my first-time home buyers, and at what level, I'm surprised sometimes at what level I actually have to assist them. I'm like, oh wow, you don't know this. And then you start to think about it. No, you either you're an immigrant that just got here shortly and you're ready to buy your first home quickly, and you really weren't taught. You don't know how the system works. So sometimes you're surprised, but then you're like, no, you're right. It makes sense that they don't know, and they need somebody to guide them through, and to guide them through without taking advantage of their innocence, right? Which we've seen that in the past. People take advantage of the less knowledgeable or the weak, right?
Give me an example of that. What's a common example of someone getting taken advantage of in the business?
It could be something as simple as putting them in. Today is harder because there's better guidelines in the banking world. But putting somebody in a position to purchase a home with a mortgage that they can't sustain.
Got it.
Right?
Just to get the big commission and bing, see it out.
Exactly. And unfortunately, the industry has developed that reputation because at the end of the day, you say, oh, you're just doing it for the commission check. Right? You're doing it for the short-term gain, the short-term gratification. In my opinion, you do them right, you get referral down the line, and you 100%. Have a referral business, right? And there's more money in that, and there's a better living in that. And that's what I practice. Most of my business comes from referrals. It's a great way to have your business come in. It's all referrals. That wouldn't be the case if I was misleading my clients, right? I think we're doing a better job. I think our generation is doing a better job with that than the previous one, in my opinion.
Are you motivated by money?
I think there's always a level of motivation that comes with money, because money gets you all these other things that brings you gratification, right? But it shouldn't be your only motivation, right? I think if I'll quickly say a bigger motivation for me is, good quality of life. Money can get you a certain part of that gratification, right? But quality of life, just being able to enjoy this short period that we have on this planet, and take advantage of that. I think, I'm more motivated about those satisfying moments that you could get out of life. Well, yeah, money does help you, right? It does. If you have it all set up and you just need the money to get you there, you're good. So money will motivate you because it helps you get, to certain levels. But yeah, money will motivate you. I think we all are motivated by money because we all get up and go to work for money.
True.
We're motivated to get money because we need it for, just put food on the table. Something as simple as that. So yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah.
That's a good answer. I thought you were gonna say no. I want my clients. I want this, but you just kept it really simple. Like we're all getting up because we need $1.
I do what I do in my career. But I do enjoy helping people. If not, there's no way that I will continue doing this successfully. There's no way I could work. Right now, we open up the new brokerage. I'm working about 60 to 70 hours a week.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to do that week after week if I didn't enjoy it. The money's not enough. So I do enjoy what I do. So I don't look at it as a job. But, I do get up because I'm going to get a check out of it at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. Let me ask you the same question. Are you motivated by money?
100%. Money.
Gotta keep it real here. Keeping it honest.
Money to me keeps score.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. How did I do last year? How did I do this year? Are there more clients? Are there more reviews? Are there more offices? And money is part of that whole gauge. So I'm 100% motivated by it, but I don't die by it. No. I don't need it like I need every dollar. I'll waive commissions. I'll waive fees. I'll just keep the people happy, keep the business growing. So I'm with you there. It's part of the equation. Yeah. It's not all of the equation.
No. And something I could add to that is, there's a certain point where $5 and $6 kind of get you the same thing, right?
Right.
So once you are making a certain level of money in your career, there's no need to do anybody wrong just to make an extra dollar because it doesn't change. Let's say one deal doesn't change your level of success. You're still in the same ballpark. Somebody that's making, let's say, $100,000 a year, which is a great living, that's extremely high. What can he do with $110,000 that he can't do with $100,000? It's gonna add up to the same thing.
It's true. What about your beginnings? What would you do differently if you could restart and go back to day one as an agent?
If I could go back to day one, and I've said this before, I would definitely start in a program in a brokerage that had stronger support and better systems in place.
Got it.
I would definitely have interviewed more brokerages and try to find a fit. And it would have been more important to me it's more important to me now that whatever brokerage I went to, whatever team I might have ended up under, that they had better structure, better support, and that should be more important for an agent starting off than their commission split, which most people are going to be looking like, what percentage of my commission split am I keeping? Well, I think what is more important that you have a good foundation, a good core, so that you have actual more commission splits to discuss instead of less. Because I know when I started off, I did it. It was pretty much school of hard knocks. Here you go figure out how to make money in this industry. It really was. Even to the point where I had my first transaction and I contacted my broker and I said, I need help because I've never written up a sales contract before. I want to make sure I do it right because I think this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And he said, go talk to XYZ. She's at the front desk and she'll guide you through it. So she did. we both got on YouTube and we figured out how to write this contract. Hopefully nobody will go back to pull this first contract that I wrote up. But that's the level of support I got.
But you got a good split.
I got a good split. But
So that's a good PSA to new agents is, it's not, all right, I'm getting this much here, but that much here. So I'm going to go with this brokerage because they're paying more. You're going to be on YouTube.
You're first, exactly. You're going to be on YouTube, self-educating yourself. And at the end of the day, you're starting off. You're looking for the education.
Right.
You're looking for the education to be able to elevate your career to a certain level where you want to achieve. Right? So your first year your goal shouldn't be to make X amount of dollars. It should be to set up your business, because we're all kind of in real estate. We're in business for ourselves, to set up your business so that it could grow to become X, Y, Z, whatever that goal is. So don't go to somewhere that's not going to offer you support and has no structure themselves. So interview some of the more successful brokerages around you and see which one's a better fit. Today, team concept is more popular than it was then. Teams tend to, not all, because they all have different programs, but teams are supposed to provide us greater levels of support than your brokerage does. Right? You could work for the brokerage that has the best structure and support. Let's say here in the state, under that brokerage, you're going to find teams. What are they doing? They're adding extra levels of structure, extra levels of support and tools. So going under a team, the right team, could definitely give you all the support you're looking for, you need to start off.
Great
So I might have went, going back, I would have found a strong team under a strong brokerage.
Yeah.
And I would have went and mentored under them.
Wow. That's good advice.
I don't know if it's the best advice. My advice, yeah.
Yeah. How about one thing that you wish you could change about the real estate industry, the workings of it, that every time you come across it, you're like, why the hell are we even talking about this? Or why are we doing this?
The financing world, to obtain a mortgage, why does it still take the whole 30 to 45 days to actually figure out if your financial package is financeable? Shouldn't you be able to walk into a bank and within a couple of days the bank analyzes and say, yes, you do qualify for a loan, or you don't? Why does it take the whole 30 or 45 days to get there? Maybe I just don't understand that world enough.
Yep.
But I'm not sure why it takes that long. I feel like it's not right. It's not fair to the buyers or the sellers.
Yep. Or to you.
All the people servicing that transaction, whether it's me, the other agent, the mortgage broker that's managing that file, or the attorneys involved. Yeah.
How about, should we be able to just put in our social security number and it says yes or no? Like social, house address, done. Do you think it should be that simple?
I mean, ideally it would be that simple, but then that also would involve your social security really, I guess, being tied into a lot more stats than the world would want today, right?
Well, it's kind of like we don't even know where our stats are going.
Yeah, it's already there, right?
It's already there.
It's already there. It's true.
But I just feel like, all right, we know what a home is worth.
Yeah.
Zillow and Truly and Hotpads, they know what it's worth. We, the banking world, should know what it's worth. So it should be Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, and 123 Main Street want this $250,000 house in Cranston. Yes. It shouldn't be like, well, underwriting wants to know where this $1,000 deposit came from, and why there was an extension on your tax return 3 years ago. It's like you're saying, what are we doing?
I think it's been overcomplicated. Yeah.
Do you think that was out of good caution from 2008, or by regulatory need, or do you think it's just people constantly are trying to justify their job?
I'm gonna say it's just every time something happens, they gotta create another hurdle, to try to avoid it. Something wrong happens, or 2008 with the appraisal crisis, so they always have to put something in place to kind of prevent that from happening.
Check it.
But exactly, so these checkpoints, financing. How many years later we have all these obstacles we have to overcome to make sure that there's no wrongdoing done. And that's when you go to a closing table, when you get to that point where you're buying a house, the client literally has to sit there for an hour and a half and sign about 150 documents, right? They have no idea what they even signing because they just signing away. Nobody actually reads every single document that gets put in front of them. They get explained to them, but they're not reading. They just sign.
True.
So I wish it could be more simplified for sure. The financing end. Real estate end, I don't know. Help me out. What's complicated on the real estate end that could be made easier? I know e-signing has made our life great.
That's a question I actually asked. I interviewed a couple closing attorneys, closing offices, and they said that the e-sign, it'll never get to 100%, but it's gotten rid of 80% of the fluff that, fax it back and sign it in person. You're signing the deed, you're signing the note in person, but that's about it. Do you think it'll ever come to a point where the whole transaction is digital? You never even see the closing office. You go to the house and get your key in a lockbox? Or is that too far-fetched?
Yeah, let's see. What would be the obstacles with nobody even having to show up? How do you authenticate that? At the end of the day, you're sending a document to an email account. What's assuring that email account is actually you?
Person.
I could have created an account and called myself you, and I bought the house. So somebody has to show up at one point, right? I don't know.
Or else there could be fraud, you're saying.
Yeah, to avoid fraud, or somebody at one point has to show up and prove that individual is him.
So you lean on 90% digital, 10%.
Yeah, more like 99% digital. I'm fine with the digital. At one point, somebody just has to say that was me. Right? But because I usually sign in my business, it's a great tool that we have that makes us more efficient, saves us and our clients a lot of time and aggravation.
So Sam, when you die, right? What's going to be the number one thing that you remember, your most memorable moment or maybe transaction in the business?
All right, moment or transaction? Because my wife is going to come after me if
business related.
Well, I tell you what, year to date, opening up Remax Innovation has been extremely exciting. It's been humbling. I'm forever grateful of the response I've gotten from the industry, other agents, my peers, my colleagues. It's just been a great feeling, I could tell they're truly grateful for me. I see the response, even the agents that have called me to join the brokerage.
Wow.
I don't know, I never thought that agents were just almost just waiting to say, hey, you open up a brokerage, I'd love to be a part of what you're doing. And they have called me up and just wanted to just join the program. So it's very humbling, again, very grateful for it. So up to date, this has been probably the biggest step in my career as an agent, opening up Remax Innovation, and the response I've gotten from the industry has been tremendous.
That's awesome. And how about 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Let's stick to 5 years from now. Hopefully 5 years from now, this is completely up and running successfully, have a handful of elite agents on it, and we have other offices opening up. Because I would definitely like to open up more than just one brokerage. I don't think the ultimate goal was to open up a brokerage. It's more to create a platform that you can just pick up and drop off in other cities and towns and other states, and just have a successful program that is ready to operate. So I definitely would like to see me expand to other states in the very near future, actually.
What do you see as your biggest hurdle in the next 5 years?
Biggest hurdle? It's probably going to be the economy, the big unknown. That's going to dictate a lot of what we should be doing. So depending on what happens in our economy, that could be a hurdle in terms of growth in the real estate world. We don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to continue to grow as the market Is the housing market continue to grow, to peak? Or are we in for a crash, as a lot of people are saying? You know, we're concerned about a crash. We felt it was due a few years ago. It never happened. It just kept growing. You know, is this an inflated market that we're living in? Right? So I think if I had to say the hurdle is going to be the one that we really can't control, and it's going to be our economy.
I had a dream last night, or maybe it was a nightmare, I don't know. I woke up in my dream, and there was a woman there, and she said, "Oh no, Greg, don't refinance now. Wait until next month. Rates are going to be 0.99%. And I was like, do you think it could go lower?
I believe, and I read up, that they're scheduled to continue to drop the rates.
Really?
I don't know how much more motivation we need to give us, you know, how much more we need to stimulate the economy, but they're predicting that rates are going to continue to drop. Whether that happens, we'll see. So I think your dream was, what do you call it? You were foreseeing the future.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, you might be right. We might see rates drop, according to, financial analysts.
But hasn't it been bananas?
It is. This is insane.
For the last, 6 months, would you say?
I would say even more.
Really?
I mean, how long have we been saying that we're looking at historically low rates?
The whole year.
The whole year. But last year, we were as well last year. You know, the norm is not.
True.
A 4% interest rate is not norm. You know, that is historically low numbers. So ever since the crash of 08, we've been seeing interest rates drop to 4%, and they were historically low back then, and we just keep beating it, right? Because it's not normal to see a 4% rate. You know, for those people who purchased a home 30 years ago and they were locked in at a 12%, they understand it could appreciate 4%, right?
Jeez.
We think it's norm today. You're charging me a 3.25. Like, that's incredibly low.
Historically, that's a quarter of what people were happily signing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take 10%, 12%.
Exactly. And if you look at most parts of the world, they're paying way over what we consider the norm to be today.
My wife from Brazil, they have to put down 60%
Down, no?
to buy a house. And the mortgage is like 10 years, 15 years. So they don't even stretch it out like, the federal government. Right. So what do you think about that? Do you think America has some of the most favorable terms to acquire wealth and build wealth?
We do. And I'd rather make the home buying process more feasible, right? Because it is the American dream to be able to purchase your home and own your own home. If you tell most Americans that they had to put down 60%, save 60% to put down on their home purchase, most Americans wouldn't own their first.
Yeah, they'd say, the hell was this?
Yeah, it's not really doable. Yeah. So I do appreciate the government making it and creating programs like your FHA programs for first-time home buyers that make home buying something that's feasible and doable. It does allow you to jump into the world of creating wealth, because I do believe in creating wealth through real estate. I think the hardest part is getting started. So the fact that we are able to purchase a home with as simple as a 3% down payment and today pay a 3% interest rate, this is very doable to get started. This is to get yourself first step in the door in terms of creating self-wealth through real estate.
Do you think that that's the only real way to get wealth and build yourself over time?
I don't think it's the only way. I think it's definitely proven to be the most popular way. Right? I think there's more people have created wealth through real estate than any other industry, right? Even through, today we have the software engineer companies, creating apps, and they're creating a lot of fast money. But I think over time, we've seen that real estate has always been the more secure way to obtain wealth. Right? So I would say yes.
How about your background, your childhood? Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about your upbringing?
Well, I was born in Central Falls, Rhode Island.
What street?
I was born on Garfield Street.
Garfield, okay.
I was born on Garfield Street. My parents purchased a home on Hendrick Street.
Yep.
Back in the 90s, and they were a victim of the variable rates. You know, rates were fixed, and they just kept going right through the roof. And then after Hendrick Street, we lived on Cowden Street, where I lived there up until the point where I graduated from Central Falls High School. After Central Falls, I went and got a bachelor's degree at University of Rhode Island. So, in a nutshell, that was me. Central Falls, URI. After URI, I went to business for myself, and then eventually I started investing in real estate. I was a buyer before I became an agent, so I was buying and managing my own rental properties.
At how old?
I purchased my first home in 2005, which was a tough market because it was close to the peak. But I did realize when the market crashed shortly after that in '08 that I identified that was the right time to really try to obtain good investment properties. And I did what I could. I bought as much as I could throughout these last, at this point, 12 years. And I've sold and I've flipped, but I've always tried to obtain a certain amount of inventory that I've managed in terms of rental properties. Yeah.
And what was your first job?
I had a pretty cool job. It was a summer program, and everybody got kind of spread into different companies and offices. And I was 14 years old, and I was working at the Pawtucket Police Station Records Department.
Oh.
So when you would walk up to the window and you needed a copy of the police report, the car accident, you would see me, and I would pull and make copies for you. Yeah, so that was my first summer job.
What kind of job is that? That's like a big time job.
That was more like a summer program. I believe
That's
that was
awesome.
like Biff Cap I used to
okay.
manage it. Yeah. So it was more of a summer program job.
And what did you learn about the police that you didn't know? I mean, you're only a freshman, but what did that experience teach you?
I don't think they let me see much of what was going on. I did get to learn who in my family had criminal records and what came up. I did get to search for all my friends and their parents and saw what they were doing, So I did learn a lot more. I did learn things, and I'm not remembering what I learned actually on the job. I wasn't out doing sting operations or anything like that. Yeah.
But you're just hanging around. You're in the
It was
mix.
cool. It was a really cool job. I was 14 years old, and you're seeing the cops come in, and all of a sudden you're seeing what's going on day to day, what reports came in from the day before. So it was interesting. It was cool.
Do you still have ties to Central Falls, or did your whole family move away?
My family did move away, but I do have strong ties. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of relationships that I've built over the years in Central Falls. My friend James Diosa is the mayor of Central Falls.
Yeah.
One of the jobs, it wasn't my first job, but I used to be a barber. And I used to cut hair in my basement. I used to cut my friends' hairs in my basement. James Diosa used to sit in my chair, and James is the mayor of Central Falls. So yeah, I still have ties. I have a lot of good relationships I've built over the years back home. Yeah.
I'm part of the Pawtucket Renaissance, if you will, and we're big on the mills getting fixed up, Main Street getting fixed up, and filling these vacant commercial buildings.
Yeah.
What do you think Central Falls needs, in that same line? What will be their pop to success?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Central Falls has done a great job recently in terms of filling all those vacant space. They don't have. You drive down Central Falls today is not the same as 8 years ago. Let's give credit to all the people that are in place today in the city office. But you don't drive down Central Falls and see foreclosures or for rent signs. Everything's pretty much developed. Everything's occupied. They have very minimum mills still available in terms of being able to grab and redevelop. And you being part of the Pawtucket, would you agree on that?
I would say some of the mills left in Central Falls are tough because they don't have parking.
Yeah.
So there's a few that I've looked at too that
Around
are
the Paramount.
80,000 square feet of space, 2 parking spots.
2 spots.
Or then you look at Sylvania, huge production facility. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Those are tough things to crack.
Yeah, and even the cost of like building like Sylvania to be able to redevelop and just the abatement, I know building like that, the cost. I think obviously if the government or the state doesn't step in to help justify going in there and developing these buildings, it just financially wouldn't make sense for any developers. So I think the city has to work hand in hand with some local developers, right? Let's try to help out some local developers come in and just restore these spaces, whether they're coming in for commercial space or residential. You know? We need a lot. I think we need both in this state, right?
True.
We're lacking residential and commercial space here. You know, there's a demand for both.
When you buy your properties, are they residential? Are they single families? Are they multis? Are they mixed use? Like, what's your primary, honey hole?
I do have a mix of single families and multis and mixed use, but I think the bulk of it is multi-families.
Where did you learn that theory or that process? Mine was my boss. I didn't know real estate investing and regular rentals was a thing. Where did you pick that up?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, I had somebody encourage me to buy my first property, which was a 2-family house. And then I've always asked, I don't know what sparked that once the housing market crashed, I said, well, this is a good price, rents are strong, this investment is going to cash flow for me every single month. I think it was, even though I don't want to say it's self-taught because, there's so much knowledge around you to read up on it and actually do it. But I was kind of self-motivated at first. And then I surrounded myself with people who were doing the same thing as I was or what I was trying to do. And then we kind of like taught each other in a way. Yeah.
Feed off one.
Yeah, we definitely did. Yeah, I remember a handful of us going to foreclosed properties and, saying, I think this is a good one. And back then there was so many to choose from. Yeah, we would say, hey, Greg, this is a good one. Why don't you take this one? That wouldn't happen today because there's such a shortage of inventory. But back then there was, and we would kind of all motivate each other.
Do you think today's youth, people 15, 20 years old, are going to get into that? Or do you think they're so preoccupied with tech that they're going to lose touch with working with their hands?
In terms of...
like that as a trade, like what you did, what I did.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that there's, again, a huge shortage in the trade environment field, right? Yeah. There's not enough competent plumbers, electricians out there, which is unfortunate because they're making a great living today. I really wish that the school system, through high school, they actually promote that this is a successful career path.
Right.
Because most tradesmen are financially doing better than people that have a college education.
Very true.
Their salaries have doubled in the last 20 years. Correct. So I wish it was more. It was taught to just be more attractive path for some people to take. Because to answer your question, no, they're not. They're not. You're not seeing electricians come up. You're not seeing auto bodies and mechanics come up. There's such a shortage of them as well. And that's why the cost of hiring an electrician or plumber has gone up.
It's true.
There's a huge demand for them.
I was talking to my good friend Emilio, your good friend as
Emilio!
Well.
Should have been here today.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. We were on the bike path. And
we might still do that. We might get back. We might do this.
Before it gets cold.
Yeah.
We were talking about how people like my dad, for example, he's 60 years old, born in 1960. He grew up in a garage. He grew up on the farm. He grew up with his hands doing something, with a cigarette and a beer, tinkering in the garage or a hobby shop in the basement. People don't fix things anymore. They buy new things.
No, it doesn't make sense to fix anything.
People don't create things. They buy stuff that other people have created or a factory has printed. Why? How are we losing that American way?
How are we losing it? Oh, every American way today, we're all too preoccupied with work. we can't go home and actually create and make our own piece of furniture, for an example. And most of us don't have the set of tools that our parents did, right? They used tools. They had a tool shop, right? And they would create, and it made sense for them to fix something. But today everything's so affordable that you just throw it away and you buy a new one.
It'll be at your doorstep tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be at your doorstep tomorrow. Absolutely. It doesn't. Today you break a TV, you just got to get another one. Before you used to have somebody come repair. You have the tech come repair. Today it doesn't make sense. It costs more money to get the tech than to actually purchase a new TV.
Do you remember when TVs were like $3,000?
Yeah.
Like the LED, and they're like, wow.
Remember when you couldn't pick up a TV?
Yeah. Those big boxes
exactly.
on the wheels?
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
And that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. We're aging, buddy.
I got my first gray hair.
The first, listen, I'm full set. I'm trying to keep gray hairs. I'm losing my hairs. I wish I had a full set of gray hairs on me right now.
Salt and pepper is a good look.
Yeah, I'll take it over losing them. Give me the option, Greg. I'll take it.
Last thing, what advice to the folks at home would you give them?
Advice in terms of what? In terms of life? Listen, enjoy
your
it.
life.
My life?
So far, how long you've made it, if you take something out and just give it to somebody.
It's going to sound cliche. Listen, whatever you decide to do in life, just make sure you enjoy it. Because if not, it's not worth it. It's definitely not. It doesn't matter how big the paycheck is. Just make sure you enjoy it, because unfortunately, work consumes a big part of your life. And if you're not enjoying most of your life, then what's the point?
True.
Right? So.
But what about, not to cut you off, somebody that says, Sam, I don't enjoy working at the DMV, but I do it because it puts that $1,000 on the table. What do you tell that person?
Well, try to pick up a hobby on the side that's also lucrative, and maybe that hobby is going to turn into a career. Today, I never planned on being a real estate agent. I kind of picked it up as a very minimal part-time job. I was very happy. I was GC in construction work and rehabbing my properties, and then I got my real estate license as a part-time job. Joke's on me, so I didn't plan on it, but I did enjoy it. So I picked it up because I enjoyed it to a certain level. And then, kind of joke's on me, today is overtime. Yeah. So if you're at the DMV and you don't like your job, when you go home, pick up a hobby you enjoy that doesn't make you some little extra money. You never know. That could, become a very fun and lucrative career for you. Hopefully that works for you. If it does, call me. Call me. I'll help you buy the new house you could afford.
There you go. And if folks want to get in touch with your office, how should they do so?
You could come visit us here. We're at 289 North Main Street in Providence. You can reach out to me. My name again, Sam Alba, 401-640-0036. I'd be happy to help you. You could call me for any of your real estate needs.
Cool, man.
Great, appreciate it.
Great job.
Always a good time.
I put you in.
Thank you for the bottle.
Absolutely, man. When I leave, maybe we'll have another shot.
I think so. We've done a lot of talking. We're kind of dry. We got to quench.
So if you have any questions for me too, throw a comment down below. I'll get right back to you. And once again, we're here at Remax Innovations headquarters here in Providence.
This is the headquarters. This is the main hub.
With Sam Alba, not Sam Albert.
Oh, we know the difference.
We know the difference. Same industry, different guy.
Sam Alba is a good friend. He's an awesome guy.
Good guy. I interviewed him last week. You can check that out.
Great interview.
So once again, Greg Rice, your property managed.